What is up, everybody? Welcome to Bulls of Ball Street. We're breaking down the entire UFC Rio card this week. Last week, we had an electric UFC 320 showing with a TKO win from Alex Pereira, a knockout win from Yuri Prochazka. So just huge card that week. Should be another super fun card this week, headlined by Mateusz Gamrot and The Bronx. So let's get into this.
Back it up, back it in. Let it begin. All right, we got UFC Rio on October 11th versus these two beautiful gentlemen. So let's get into it here. We got Luan Lacerda versus Simon Oliveira. Fun fact about this card that Jackson let us know right before. Every single fight has a Brazilian. So it fits the theme, so let's get into it.
Yeah, should be fun. Bunch of guys fighting in their hometown. This one's no exception. We got two Brazilians to kick off the card. Simon Oliveira versus Luan Lacerda. Simon, really nasty BJJ, very dangerous on the ground, good transitions, pretty much always hunting for a submission, trying to set something up. Conversely, his striking's not amazing or anything, doesn't really throw in combos ever. He is pretty powerful, but he can definitely get hit, doesn't really throw in combos at all. It's a bit low volume striking. You'll see he lands 2.67 strikes a minute and absorbs 4.13. Luan Lacerda, I'd say a bit more well-rounded, or at least a better striker, probably more dangerous striker too than Simon Oliveira. Also really, really good grappler. Ton of pressure on the feet, throws everything he can at you. A bunch of power behind his hands, some kicks as well. And I would say he's honestly pretty technical on the feet too. Takedowns aren't straight or insanely explosive or anything, but he's relatively strong, like decent trips and sweeps and single legs and stuff. But he's kind of similar to Simon in that once he gets it to the ground, he has very good BJJ, looking to pick up a submission as well. He can definitely headhunt a bit, both on the ground and on the feet, which leaves him open sometimes, but main concern with him is how big of a layoff he's coming off of. 2-year layoff after a loss to Damon Blackshear. And I'm going to go with Luan Lacerda here, who is just, I'd say, a lot more dangerous than Simon Oliveira, who I just don't think is like amazing really anywhere outside of his BJJ. Hate the layoff, obviously, but I mean, between these two guys, I'm willing to weigh that risk a little bit in favor of Lacerda. I think he can still get it done.
Yeah, I'm a rock with Lacerda as well. I feel like talent will shine through in this one, and I think he is probably or definitely the more talented fighter, and I'm comfortable laying the number in this one as well. I think it could be a fun little parlay piece to start off the card.
Mm-hmm.
I will be the annoying one and go with Simon by decision. As soon as you said layoff, I was like, well, I'm going to lay off this guy. So I am not doing that. I'm sure that, I mean, keep in mind, like, I remember quite literally using this exact logic, and I forgot what fight it was, and I was on the wrong side of the result. And quite literally meaning I lost my prediction. Yeah.
No, it's usually a good thing to be wary of. I mean, I think the last one where like we were kind of sus about it was Fiziev, and we all like picked against Fiziev, and that worked out for us because of the layoff. Well, I mean, not because of the layoff, but he did have a big layoff. But yeah, it's definitely something to look out for. Biggest concern for me with Luan.
On to the next one. We have two beautiful ladies here, Julia Polostri, which I can't pronounce her live, so screw me, I guess, versus Carolina Cole. Yeah, I'm not going to talk half of that. But let's walk into it. What should we be expecting here?
Yep. We got a decently fun ladies fight. It's definitely not going to be a finish in this one, but Julia Polostri versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz. Julia, pretty well-rounded fighter, definitely has grappling. She can strike. Relatively high volume, too. Lands 5.62 significant strikes a minute, absorbs 5.37. So definitely okay with getting hit. She's pretty tough. Solid BJJ. Definitely can get taken down. Her takedown defense is only at 58%. But like I said, she has good BJJ, so she's pretty comfortable off her back in the event that she does get taken down. And has pretty good transitions. Will look for subs. She's coming off the decision loss to Lupi Godinez, where She got taken down a bunch. She did almost win the third, though. And Carolina been around for a while. Pretty durable fighter, high volume striker with a pretty good striking differential, 4.8 significant strikes landed to 2.66 absorbed per minute. Good takedown defense too, over a pretty wide range of high level opponents. Good kickboxer, has a kickboxing base, does what you would expect a kickboxer to do. She can manage range. She can also throw in combos in the clinch, good kicks. She did fight for a title at one point, kind of has had a super up and down career, coming off of 2 losses. I think she won 4 in a row before that, though, and lost 4 in a row before that. So it's just been 2 different stories throughout her career, really. She's coming off the Denise Gomes loss, where she was outstruck, which is kind of a bad look against a fighter like Denise Gomes. And Pilastri should be the better striker. She's definitely, I'd say, a more technical, cleaner striker than Denise Gomes is. She's faster as well. So I think it should pretty easily be a Pilastri decision.
Yeah, I'll back you in this one. Just rock with Pilastri. Keep it simple. No need to overthink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a very boring decision. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what the line's indicating.
What's the line?
Minus
455.
Holy shit. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't touch Julia.
Yeah, it's likely going to be a pass then, but
yeah,
just for the sake of giving a pick.
Yeah.
I'm with Jackson in the sense of, like, I do not expect this to go inside the distance. I think Carolina is a bit more of a live dog than what the line's indicating, but it's in Brazil. I think Julia should, in theory, be able to game herself there. But 12-year age gap. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite us. More often it does. So on to the next one we go. We have, I like this, Walter Walker versus Mohammed Usman. What should we be expecting here outside of another foot?
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully Walter racks up another foot here against Mo Usman, who I think is a pretty good fighter, honestly, to get a 4th heel hook in a row against, which is an insane record. He has Walter's 3 wins in a row via heel hook, most recently over Kennedy and Chukwu. And Walter is fighting in his hometown here. Fights more like, a Russian because he trained in Russia. He's a very well-versed wrestler. Came in, looked pretty bad at his debut, and has since obviously put it together pretty well. Seems to be locked in. Taking on Mo Usman, most known for being the brother of Kamaru Usman. And he is not very good really anywhere, but he's he's like a freak athlete, ex-college football player. I believe it was Georgia Tech. Like I said, not very good anywhere, but he's a grinder for sure. Obviously has power behind his hands. Will just come forward at you behind his jab. Coming up, a win over Hamdi Abdel Wahab, where I believe he was an underdog. That fight sucked. Like both those, it was just slop. Neither of those guys threw any volume. Nobody did anything. Mo just landed with a little bit more intent than Hamdi did in that fight. And Walter is definitely 100% the more skilled fighter of the two, better training. And I mean, I think all it really takes for Walter to win this one is for him to get a takedown, which I think inevitably happens. It could look scary for Walter if Usman defends those takedowns because, Usman has a lot of power behind his hands. Walter really isn't a very good striker, but I do think Walter should eventually be able to get this one to the ground. Could even be another heel hook. I'm going with Walter sub.
Yeah, if there's juicy odds on the heel hook, I feel like just for vibes, you kind of got to throw some cash on it. Other than that, Usman is just a traffic cone. There's nothing redeemable about his talent set, really. In theory, this could be just kind of like a staring contest between 2 decently low-level heavyweights. I'm going to rock with Walter Walker in this one, but I'll probably only be placing anything on it if there's a heel hook wager that plus 2,000 or something like that, just to get involved with the vibes.
You know, if there is too, that shit is going to be like juiced. It's going to be like plus 300 for heel hook exact method of victory or something.
Yeah, I wonder how they determine the odds on those things. I feel like there's a chance they kind of just throw a generic line out for all the different methods of submission on certain sites, and then like they don't curate it in particular for this kind of fighter, and then people might hammer that line, and then it gets down to 300 eventually. But if you got there on the drop, you could get some value there, I think.
I feel like this is like one of the only cases where they would like the books would maybe manufacture a line for that, just because he has 3 in a row, which is just insane. Like,
no, for sure,
it's plus 175 on Hard Rock right now
for sub or heel hook.
Sub.
Okay, cool. I was like, no way.
But
that would be insane.
In general, I think that this fight is exactly how you set it up. I just want to add one more note. Like, I think they want to have a fight that generally brings energy to the arena in case like they don't get something from the first 2 fights, which is definitely live. And I think that's exactly what this is. Like Walter Walker, we've already come to agreement that Muhammad Usman is like our favorite fighter to fade because he is what Grant described perfectly, a cone. He's just not a serious fighter, so I'm with you on the sub. Like, I just don't really see. I don't know. It's basically they haven't patched this yet in his weight division, and I'm curious to see if they will find someone who can patch it. So
yeah, and they're not even trying to find someone who can patch it with this matchup.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is sort of like, okay, here's a free like bonus. Essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Have fun, buddy. Anyways, on to the next one. We get 2 children: Lucas Rocha versus Stuart Nicole. What should we be expecting?
What?
Dude, yeah,
Lucas is.
These pictures are so funny. Yeah, Rocha looks like he has like some sort of developmental disorder or something.
They look like they're brothers, except one's just like a sophomore in high school and the other's a sophomore in college.
That's bad.
I mean, he probably does have some sort of He's like a fully grown 25-year-old, and he's 5'3".
Yeah, 2 brothers. One of them goes to Miami. The other one goes to Wisconsin. But this should be a decently fun one. Rocha, a striker, very pressure-oriented. You can see by his kind of wild striking differential that he just doesn't care at all really about striking defense. He's okay with getting hit. He gets hit with 4.48 a minute, lands only 2. But he has very good BJJ as well, good scramble skills. He did get subbed in his debut by Clayton Carpenter, who we're going to talk about later, but I don't think that's a very bad loss, honestly. His submission defense, I'd say, is usually a bit better than that, despite it not working out for him against Carpenter. But he can definitely be taken down generally. The takedown defense is only at 61%. Stuart Nickel, more of a wrestler. He can grapple as well. Very good control on the ground. Always working when he's on the ground. Has knockouts on his resume. The majority of those are ground and pound, though. Like, wrestling is his main thing. Decent striking differential. Lands 3, absorbs 1. Mostly looking to wrestle, though. He's a pretty good, decent striker, though. Coming off a submission loss to Jesus Aguilar, where he just took a big shot and then Aguilar was able to finish it off. And Rocha has bad takedown defense. Nickel can wrestle. It's a tough one for me. And Nickel also kind of folds under pressure sometimes, and Rocha applies a lot of pressure. I'm going to go with Stuart Nickel just because he has the wrestling edge. And Rocha has been susceptible to that in the past. And I mean, more often than not, like, I feel like you can just win a fight, spam wrestling. It's kind of the only specialty you can sort of win a fight with, just spamming that. So I'm going to go with Nickel just because he's a good wrestler. Rocha has been susceptible to wrestling in the past.
Yeah, give me Nickel as well. I just don't think I can trust that little twerp on the left. Like, I'm just going to rock with the guy that has a tad more experience, can wrestle his way to a decision victory in this one, and kind of just call it there. I feel like this one could easily get stalled out, and Stewart's able to just kind of outpoint his way to a victory there on the ground.
Yeah, I'm going to take Little Twerp here by knockout.
Rocha.
Yeah, I think that this could end up just being like a very high tempo, like they just start swinging essentially. Like I
Yeah.
don't think there's going to be a lot of intelligence between these two. A lot of 0-1 fights for both sides that they've beaten. So
Yeah, I'm very low confidence in this one.
I don't have any faith. This is all right. Who's on the right side of the coin?
Yeah.
We'll see where it lands.
Yeah.
So, all right. On the next one here, we have.
Oh shoot, I forgot.
A fade. So we have Beatriz Mosquita versus Irene.
I forgot to send the gradient to back. So
you're all good.
But yeah, Arena. I mean, you can kind of see her stats still. She is a world sambo champion. Nickname is the what is it? It's the Russian Ronda, like Ronda Rousey, or Russian, either that or Russian Rousey. But yeah,
is that the UFC equivalent of like Maple Jordan and all those like?
Yeah, I
like
think so. Yeah,
MJ nicknames.
Dude, there's
The
only
Red
a few.
Mamba.
There's like multiple Korean ones, and then there's just Arena Alexieva.
Yeah, Zombie Junior.
Yeah. But she is very, very strong. Just moves forward at you consistently. Obviously has the world-class sambo experience, so she'll look to get takedowns, look to throw you to the ground. Good grappling as well. I kind of hate how often she's just okay with grappling off her back and she can get taken down, which is definitely going to be a factor here against Bia, who is a super good grappler. She also gets hit a lot because she just kind of leans into punches. She's super aggressive on the feet, and she absolutely invites pressure. She doesn't care, but she is super tough. And she's coming off a Claudia Segula loss where she ate 156 significant strikes. And Bia Mesquita, very, very talented grappler. Her UFC debut, obviously. Striking definitely needs work. Takedowns definitely need work. But she is absolutely nasty on the ground. Like, if this fight is on the ground for long enough, I almost guarantee it's a Bia Mesquita submission. But honestly, I mean, I saw the odds of this fight, and Bia is a huge favorite. Could one of you check how big of a favorite she is at the current moment?
It's like minus.
Yeah, minus 520.
Yeah, so I think I might sprinkle on a Alexieva decision in this one. Just because she is like far and away the more complete fighter. Like, she's a world sambo champ. She's beat actual women, and this kind of reminds me, like, do you guys remember the Alice Pereira loss that just happened recently? Like,
I'm so happy you brought that up. I thought I was going to be alone on this. I'm like, we're not about to repeat this shit again. Like, this has become a rinse and repeat process for us. I hope we're in line.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, it's the exact same shit as that, in my opinion. Like, a bunch of height coming in, and if I do think this, like, Beatriz genuinely could be a problem in this division in the future. Like, her sub skills are absolutely nasty, but you can't go anywhere else if you're trying to like put some money on this than like putting a sprinkle on Irina, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely probably a pass for me, or tailing you with that. I will say it might be hard for Beatriz to hit what looks like an invisible woman on the other side. So she might be pretty agile, but yeah, I think this is either a hard pass or a sprinkle on the other side, like you said. So kind of going to play it by ear and see how the early card's going and then make a decision there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, so what is the most likely finishing method here, Jackson? Would you say for our girl?
For Irina?
Yeah.
It would be a knockout for sure.
All right, then we'll go with knockout. I don't know. We've generally come to this point where we've been talking about UFC for long enough to where we have so many examples we can point towards of the first time we see a fighter going against someone who has like at least 2 UFC fights or something. And I don't know. I'm sure this could be put in a statistic or something, but like it just feels like every single time we see the non-UFC fight, like they always lose.
Yeah.
So,
especially this year, dude. Like,
yeah, it's just, I don't know. We can quite literally look at Patchy Mix, his work, for example, if we want to. Like, it is what it is. And you have great ball knowers like Jackson and Joe Rogan, for example, who were behind.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like an educated decision. Like,
yeah, dude. It's like everyone was saying that Patchy is like a world-class prospect coming into the UFC, you know, and he's just ass, apparently.
Exactly. All right, on to the next one here. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. Looking like they're on opposite sides of Weight Watchers ad. So yeah, let's watch this.
Before and after, just the tan.
Yeah, we got steroids, Victor Petrino, and we got like the antithesis of steroids, Thomas Peterson here.
The Alex Jones before and after photos.
Yeah. Facts. But Vitor just debuted at the heavyweight division and looked very good. He's a very, very powerful striker. Also has grappling, a bunch of takedowns, averages 3 a fight. Takedown defense, pretty decent, I would say. Has had to defend takedowns from a lot of really good fighters too. He does a pretty good job of getting back up in the event that he does get taken down too, and just staying out from under. Tries to get off of his back. I like that he doesn't just try to grapple from his back right away. And very athletic, obviously. Coming off a knockout win over bum Austin Lane, a TKO win over bum Austin Lane. Thomas Peterson, very solid wrestler. That's his main thing. He's just good at wrestling. That's what's got him his wins so far in the UFC. Striking isn't great. They're just there pretty much to set up the wrestling. And obviously here against Victor Petrino, if he can't get the takedowns, he's going to be in a ton of trouble. And he's coming off a win over Dontel Mays, where he was able to get 9 of his own takedowns. So that's largely why you see the 4.42 takedown average. Like, his control isn't horrible. I mean, it's not the best. Dontel Mays was able to get up a ton, but Dontel's pretty hard to keep down. But yeah, I don't rate the Austin Lane win highly at all. That dude is barely a UFC fighter. But I do think he can. But I do think Petrino can beat Peterson here. He has really good takedown defense. I think he should be able to just find a finish on the feet here. He's juiced right now. He looked super dangerous in his last fight, despite it being against a can. So I'm going to go with Petrino knockout. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm rocking with Petrino as well. I think he's the far more skilled and clean striker. I think Peterson could potentially lag this one out on the ground. That's his best path to victory here. But I'm going to rock with a guy that you can feel more confident in putting in a more well-rounded, full performance. So that's going to be Petrino for me.
I'll go Petrino by decision just because I'm a known hater. But because he's favored here and I have taken so many dogs to this point, I need to get caught up on my favorites. On to the next one. All right. Rafael Fialho, who looks like he needs a meal, versus Clayton Carpenter. What should we be expecting here?
Rafael does look like a stick bug in this picture. But yeah, this should be a super fun fight. Both of these guys are very fun fighters, I would say. Rafael, totally okay with a brawl. Good BJJ. Solid takedown defense. He also has some of his own. You can see he averages 2.45 takedowns a fight. Throws very hard. He's got some power behind his hands despite looking so skinny in that picture. Grappling is good. He's always looking to strike before grappling, though. If he's losing the exchanges on the feet, he'll transition to wrestling pretty fluidly. Coming off a Alan Nascimento loss where he was able to get 4 takedowns. Clayton Carpenter, very good grappler, very dangerous on the ground, will chase after submissions, sets a pace and a very fast one at that. Ton of competition experience outside of MMA, BJJ world champion, both gi and no gi, coming off a decision loss to Tagir Lembekov, where he got taken down several times, but almost wrapped up a sub a couple times off his back. Fialho, definitely a decent fighter. I'd say a bit underrated in my opinion, but I'm a pretty big Clayton Carpenter fan. I like what I've seen from him so far. He's the better wrestler here. Potentially the better grappler too. He's BJJ world champion. Also just stronger, the better athlete in general, I think. saw a kind of a preview of his chin against Tagir Ulanbekov. He got hit a few times and was able to just eat those shots, and Tagir hits pretty hard. So I'm pretty confident in Clayton here. He's a guy I'm probably going to be betting on in one way or another. But
yeah, Thilo probably has some finishing potential on the ground in this one. That's probably the way Carpenter could lose, but I think he's well-rounded enough and strong enough on the ground to fend that off. I think he's lagged out fighters that are more skilled on the ground than Thielho in the past, so I'm going to rock with Carpenter. I think the talent should just shine through, and I think he has a clear edge in every other realm of this fight, so I will be rocking with that. And it's a line you can actually kind of attack at its base number as well.
facts.
Yeah, I feel like Tagir is a good fighter, and the fact that he went the distance with him is enough for me. So I will also be on the Carpenter side, but we'll go with decision. Kind of hard to go with decision, so I guess we'll go with sub. We'll get a bit greedy.
I like it. And yeah, Tagir's definitely not a bum.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a 50-50 fight. I think they priced it well. So on to the next one. Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, this is a fun one. Michael Aswell, interviewed him twice now. Very good guy, the Texas kid, going up against Lucas Almeida. And Aswell is, I mean, he's super exciting and like keeps getting these good. He's 0-2 now, or actually he lost Contender Series fight, still got the UFC contract to Bogdangrad, and then lost to Balaji Oki by decision. But that both of those fights were absolute wars. That's why he's still where he's at now, getting a main card slot here against Lucas Almeida, who is a very dangerous guy in his own right, very powerful. Throws and combos, does a good job at finishing people off when he smells blood. Throws pretty much everything in his arsenal at you, as much and whatever he can. Not amazing takedown defense at 53%. Doesn't attempt his own takedowns at all, really. And he's coming off a decision loss to Danny Silva, where he just couldn't really get the striking going at all. And Michael Aswell, very, very pressure-oriented striker, constantly pumping 1-2s. They were giving him some slack in his last fight for sitting behind the 1-2, but it was working so well. Or that was actually in the Grod fight. It was working so well that I thought that criticism was kind of dumb because he kept hitting Grod over and over and over again with the 1-2. And it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But he's very high volume, like very, very high volume. You'll see he lands 9.1 strikes per minute, absorbs 7.93. And he landed over 100 strikes on Balaji Oki, who is definitely no joke, insanely powerful. And I love to see that he wasn't scared of a guy like Balaji Oki. Like, that is a super imposing guy. And he just threw the whole kitchen sink at him, landed over 100 significant strikes. His pressure is insane from what I've seen. And I just think the volume is really going to be the difference maker here. Like, I totally think Almeida has a puncher's chance. It's a close fight, 100%. But I'll go with Aswell just because he's so high volume. I think, like, for every strike Almeida lands, Michael Aswell is just going to be able to hit him with multiple. So, I mean, there's always, I think this, unless Aswell or, I mean, there could be a knock on this one, but I think it should go to decision if it is Aswell. He's not insanely powerful, more of a type of guy to just wear you down with his strikes over the course of a fight. And Aswell also has the grappling. I'd say he's a better wrestler and grappler than Almeida is. He hasn't used that recently, but you'll see some sub wins on Aswell's resume from not too long ago. So, yeah, I think the volume, the pressure should be able to get it done. He's just an absolute dog going with Aswell.
Yeah, I'll take Aswell as well. I think there's like more of a ceiling there that is yet to be seen versus you kind of know what you're getting with Lucas Almeida. And I think he's probably just going to have more output, which could easily lead to a decision victory, like you said. Yeah, that's about it. I think it's a close enough line as well that you could get involved with this. I think it's either Aswell or it's probably a pass, but I'll lean with Aswell for now.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to follow with Aswell. I think he's been a little bit unlucky here relative to kind of our guy Almeida. I don't really see the path outside of the fact that he's Brazilian. So.
Yeah, like a homer decision.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like trying to think because I'm also in the sense of like, where do I find my dogs, so to speak?
Yeah.
But I think this is a fight where a lot of, so to speak, fake sharp people are going to jump onto the Almeida side of this and just be like, he's a guaranteed lock. So I like the Micah Oswell side. We'll see if we're sharp or fake sharp.
Yeah.
I'm either a butter knife or a hot knife, one of the two. So, all right, as well by decision. On to the next one. Ricardo Ramos versus Con Ofli. Yeah, I feel like we've got a discount. Who's the guy that the big? I'm trying to remember. He's basically like an old. He starred in. God, I'm butchering this so bad. Let's get into this.
Yeah, take your time, bro. Ricardo Ramos, Con Ofli, Ricardo Brazilian, Con Turkish. What is his nickname? Is something very Turkish sounding. But Ramos is I'd say a very well-rounded fighter. BJJ black belt, one of those Brazilian strikers who is constantly throwing kicks, lots of spinning kicks, spinning elbows, nice jabs, very good subs on the ground, good transitions. And he is coming off a decision loss to Chepe Mariscal, who I rate very highly, I would say, relative to most fighters, where Chepe's just pace control was a lot for him to deal with. He couldn't really get anything going. And Con Ofli is sort of, he's not amazing anywhere. He's just like pretty well-rounded. I'd say he's more of like a grappling wrestling guy than a striker, if anything. He is a BJJ black belt. He has takedowns. Not in the UFC, but he has takedowns. Very compact guy, small, strong, pretty hard to like get to the ground for a lot of guys just because of how compact he is. But he is a lot of the time just pretty cool with being low volume. You see he only lands 2 to 2.93 absorbed, and just kind of stalling things out. And I think Ramos should win this one. I feel like I kind of wasn't being very nice to Ofli in that breakdown, but I do think like it's a pretty close fight. Like Ofli definitely has a chance to win. Like I could totally see him just like stalling this one out on the cage, because of that's kind of just what he does. But I think Ramos should be able to get it done. Ramos like has plenty of wrestling training. He trains at Team Alpha Male, so he should be ready for that. He's a way better striker, so we have seen him get taken down and stuff like several times. So
yeah, it's awfully or pass for me personally. I just can't trust Ramos. You could try like a Rabona spinning leg kick that just shatters his toes and then the fight ends. Like he's just not a guy you can trust to really put forth a game plan. He's a showman, which is fun, but I think if you were wagering on him and he tried some crazy attempt at something and then just like shattered his ankle or something, you'd be like, well, I knew this was going to happen. Why did I do it? So, yeah, he's just not a guy I can trust. And in a somewhat narrow line, I think I'll rock with the underdog here. We'll see if it could be a pass as this fight gets closer. But for now, I will be on the Ofli side of things.
Well, Grant said a showman. I guess what way would he get the finish then, in theory?
I think he could win by Ricardo.
Yeah.
He could win
Like
by either
spinning
sub
head
or
kick or
knockout.
something.
Yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be probably like a spinning back elbow or like a guillotine.
Okay. Let's go with sub. Why not? I see he's got takedowns on his resume. Why
Yeah.
not? You're in Brazil. That's the whole Charles do Bronx card. That's what we're all trying to hype ourselves up for anyways by the time we get to the main event, is Charles pulling off a crazy sub or some shit likely. So I'm excited.
This is kind of like Timu Charles versus Gamrot.
Pretty much. And I figured out who I was talking about. He looks like a Make-A-Wish version of Pedro Pascal.
He does.
Oh, yeah, he does. Ricardo.
All right.
That's good.
On to the next one here. We have Jonathan Diniz versus Mario Pinto. If I were Diniz, I would not be the happiest with whoever made this picture, but it's just me. So let's get into it.
Yeah, and then we still got the Contender Series picture for Mario Pinto in black and white. UFC got to update that. But Janata, pro kickboxing background, very good striker, does what you would expect a kickboxer to do, does a little bit more than you would expect a heavyweight kickboxer to do. He's very, very fast for his size, pretty technical striker, also powerful, good combos. Takedown defense, obviously very good at 78%. Kind of looks like a fish if you get him on his back, doesn't have like very good defensive transitions on the ground. I'd say that's probably the biggest hole in his game. But he's coming off a decision win over Alvin Hines, who got caught for taking steroids right after that fight happened. So you kind of have to take that, whatever happened in that one with a grain of salt. But Mario Pinto, he's a striker, technique-wise also pretty skilled. Can let his hands go. Sometimes he's a little bit low volume. Kind of takes a little bit to get going into fights a lot of the time. Does work the legs, decent kicks. I think he has more to worry about in that department than Janata does this fight, though. Striking defense, it looks sus to me. There's really no foot movement. It's basically him just dodging with his head, which, I mean, he hasn't been knocked out yet, but it just does not really pass the eye test at all. Coming off a win over bum Austin Lane. And Mario Pinto, he's super dangerous, could get the knockout here. I'm going to go with Janata, though. He wasn't able to finish Alvin Hines, but Alvin Hines is just insanely durable even without the steroids. So leaning Janata KO here. I think he can get it done. Especially, I just don't like what I've seen from Mario's striking defense. I think it's exposable, and Janata's kickboxing experience gives him an opportunity to be the guy that exposes it here.
Yeah, I think I'll probably lean with Denise in this one. The grappling is pretty much non-existent, and I don't know if there's really crazy power on either side. I feel like that at this point in Denise's career, he's not a crazy hard hitter. I know he has some knockouts in his career. Obviously going to be a close fight. If you look at the line, I probably lean Denise right now just for kind of the experience factor, and I feel like you kind of know more of what you're going to get with him and put together a solid performance. It's not going to wow you. It's not going to change the world at all, but I think it could get the job done in a decision here.
I'm going to go with Denise by knockout. I just think Pinto is a trash can.
Yeah. It's also we genuinely haven't seen him against anybody of any value.
They're not actual fighters.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one. Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. In other words, the birthing of a star. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about this one.
Star was born. But yeah, it should be a fun fight. Luque, kind of a has-been, still very, very skilled, obviously, though. Well-rounded, good everywhere. Dangerous on the ground, nice submissions. Excuse me. But mostly a striker, basically looking to just brawl it out with you. Decent BJJ everywhere, even off his back. Takedown defense is at 61%, but that's over a huge sample size against some of the best fighters there are, some of the best wrestlers there are. But it was also a while ago. He did get taken down just recently by Kevin Holland and then ultimately finished by Kevin Holland. And then Joel Alvarez, very, very good grappler, very skilled technical boxer, good kicks. Is not takedowns aren't the best. Takedown defense also not the best. Doesn't really go for them at all, but he has very, very good BJJ if it does go to the ground. And he's coming off a knockout win over Drakkar Klose, where the power was obviously on display. He got taken down a couple times, so it seems to be the biggest hole in his game, I would say, is just the wrestling in general. And Luque, like I said, used to be insanely good, definitely older now, not as fast now. Chin, definitely not what it used to be. So I'll go Joel Alvarez. The striking is going to be there. The BJJ is there. Hopefully the wrestling has improved a little bit fight over fight, but I think Joel should just be able to win this one on the feet. Yeah.
Yeah, Joel easily for me. I think Wells said it best. I think this is a star in the making. I mean, it's a tough line to really get involved with. Maybe you pair it with a piece you like to get towards an even line or something like that.
What's the line?
But yeah, I would be shocked if this one is super close at all. He's looking at like minus 400 ish right now, I believe. Yeah, minus 470. So shouldn't be much of a close fight, and I'm excited for Joel to get a bigger test in the future as well if he can pass his test with flying colors.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Alvarez by sub here. Specifically, I want to say, what was his most common one we saw earlier in his career here? If I had it in my brain for 2 seconds. Let's see here. Triangle choke. That's what we're going to go with.
Oh, yeah.
For the jiu-jitsu. All right, on to the next one. Davison Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. All right, what should we be expecting about this one?
Yeah, it's a fun one. Figgy, former flyweight champ, moved up to bantamweight. Seems to, he's having some mixed success at bantamweight. Seems to have just better cardio generally. No insane improvements though. He's still obviously like not the same Figgy he was when he was flyweight champ. But the wrestling seems to be there, maybe even a little bit more than it normally is. He has like 2 takedowns in all 3 of his last 3 fights. Very well-rounded guy, still dangerous anywhere. Like I just said, the takedowns were good. The BJJ is there. He's nasty BJJ black belt. Powerful striker as well. And he's coming off the Corey Sandhagen loss. It was an injury loss. Corey was looking pretty convincing up until the injury, though. And Montel Jackson, very good wrestler, powerful guy, has added striking to his resume. Obviously, a bunch of finishes, both knockouts and submissions. He's a well-rounded guy. Not amazing takedowns, 62%, but he gets a bunch because he just lays them on you. Basically just a very well-rounded guy, good wrestler. Coming off a win over Daniel Marcos. That was by decision. Davison is obviously older, slower now. He's nearing the end of his career. I'd say he's 37, might even be older. That's like Favela's age. But Montel is pretty good. Like I'm kind of right on the fence on this one. I think I'm going to go with Figgy by decision. And I think I'm likely going to just sort of hedge that with a Figgy plus 3.5 bet. It's just Daniel Marcos was able to land 3 takedowns on Montel. Montel needed 7 takedowns to get a decision win over Daniel Marcos. And it's like there's just levels. Hasn't fought anybody nearly the same skill level as Figueiredo. And he was taken down 3 times by Arce in that decision win. He was taken down 5 times by JP Buys in that decision win. Got taken down 3 times, and then 15 times before that in the Felipe Corrales fight. Like this guy gets taken down all the time, despite being a great wrestler. And then there's just levels to this jiu-jitsu stuff on the ground when it gets there. Neither of these guys have ever landed more significant strikes on their opponent in a UFC fight. I'm good. For me, it's just I gotta go Figgy here. I'm going Figgy decision.
I'm gonna take Montel. I think Figgy could definitely get the job done on the ground with a submission using the jiu-jitsu, but I don't think he's a reliable enough minute winner on the ground as a grappler to kind of just outpoint his opponent in that area anymore. And he's also a guy that was known for his power and finishing ability at his previous division, but I think some of that has gone out the window just a tad here. I don't think he's this as dangerous of a fighter as he once was. earlier on in his career against smaller guys. I think that just hasn't really translated over, although he's definitely looked pretty solid in his move up. But just in general, I think Jackson is probably the better minute winner in this one, and I think you can rely on his volume a tad more going forward in this fight, potentially being on the front foot at times. You just have to avoid a sub, I think, is probably going to be the main area that he loses in this one, but I'm going to rock with Jackson.
All right, I'm going to be on the Figgy by decision side.
Let's go.
I'm just surprised. I don't know. I'm curious, Jackson. What would you say the line is for this fight?
I looked at it, and when I looked at it, Figgy was plus 230.
Okay, I was curious to see what your line was off your head because I wasn't sure if you saw it or not.
Yeah, no, I saw it. But yeah, I like even considering that. Like, I think I saw that him by decision was like plus 450. Already have a cycle involving that. So
that'll be fun. But yeah, I like Figgy by decision here, and we'll see where it leads us towards. Now on to the main event. We have Charles Oliveira versus Mateus Gamrot. And a 50-50 split is what they're expecting by the market. So I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts and see if you are divided as well.
Yeah, I'm like internally kind of divided on this one, but I do have a pick. Charles, the Bronx, obviously a fan favorite, has been for a good bit now. Very, very well-rounded. Most ever submissions in the UFC. Also can knock people out. Also can wrestle. Very clean technique in his boxing. Just got knocked out by Ilya. Obviously, I would say beginning the descent of his career path, but still a very, very good fighter. Gamrot, very, very nasty wrestler. I guarantee you this fight goes to the ground. And it'll probably be Gamrot taking down Charles. Charles is just so dangerous off of his back. And Gamrot, very, very technical striker, not just a wrestler. Chin, definitely a little bit suspect. But he's a very pressure-oriented guy. Striking isn't just there to set up the wrestling. It's genuinely like he's a pretty skilled striker. Charles could definitely either knock out Gamrot or submit Gamrot. But he lost to Islam and Armin, just getting taken down, kind of like I have a gut feeling is going to happen here. Gamrot trains with American Top Team, and it's like I don't see him getting subbed necessarily. Like I think they're going to be ready for that. And I think if Gamrot is the type of guy to be able to stay safe generally on the feet against a guy like Charles. So I'm going with it's just a weird matchup for Oliveira. I feel like not insanely confident or anything, but I'm going to go with Gamrot. Just like boring ass Gamrot win.
Yeah, I think Oliveira is probably past the point of contending against the real, like, true upper echelon in the MMA community. That's the Topurias and people of that ilk. But I think he can still compete against a guy like Gamrot. You also won't see me pick against Charles Oliveira. That's just my guy. I got to go down with the ship if that's the case in this one. I think Gamrot can definitely kind of calm this fight down and take some of the air out of it, use some wrestling to kind of control the minutes in this one. And I think he's going to win the minutes in this fight probably. It would be hard to see Oliveira putting together like a super controlling performance. But I think Charles, as this fight goes on, could easily pull something off on the ground here and fight towards a sub with Gamrot trying to just kind of stall this one out. You see Oliveira make the right switch and things can kind of change on their head from there. So I'm going to rock with Oliveira.
I mean, I just can't fathom not taking Charles in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I've got to do it for the brand.
I'm not betting Gamrot.
I think I'll go with Charles by decision here. I want to go with the sub for the just pick, but the reality is that I think it's going to be a boring decision. I think Gamrot is as talented as Jackson outlined. mind. Like, there's plenty of other factors that are playing into this. I do think it would be electric if Charles pulled off the sub in Brazil, because I could not fathom, I couldn't fathom what it would be like in that building.
He's so lit.
I think if this is a 3-round fight too, I'd be much more willing to lay the number on Gamrot, I guess. But I just think that in a 5-round fight that Oliveira is so accustomed to, with a guy in himself that seemingly has an unlimited gas tank, I could easily see this fight just kind of changing drastically in those 4th and 5th rounds.
Yeah, I also Wells and I were talking about this a tiny bit before you hopped on, Grant. It's like the odds. I mean, I don't trust how books handicap like any UFC generally, but the odds are a little bit telling that they have Gamrot as like a slight favorite, just because of how big of a fan favorite Charles is, and it's in Brazil. You know, I feel like it's kind of like, for me, it's a little bit of a hint.
Yeah, I
That's
think
very true.
A way to look at it. But with that said, appreciate you all. Subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, peace now.
Peace.
Peace.